Walaikum
Haseeb.
salam.
Assalamu alaikum everyone. Hope you are well. So, can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Yes, yes.
Okay, thank you.
No, sir.
So let's not waste time. Today we are going to discuss the we have discussed the extrinsic pathway and intrinsic pathway of coagulation before. We will continue today. Uh, Kindly mute yourself. One,
सर आवाज नहीं आ रही.
kindly mute your mic. Kindly mute your just kindly mute your microphone. Thank you. So we will discuss the extrinsic and intrinsic pathway of coagulation, and then we will discuss few of the bleeding disorders, especially the pathophysiology of hemophilia, von Willebrand disease, idiopathic thrombocytopenic purpura, and disseminated intravascular coagulation. So, as we discussed earlier, optimum balance should be there between the procoagulants and the anticoagulants. So, normally, the anticoagulants are the ones which predominate in a normal, healthy vascular system. But whenever there is trauma or rupture of the blood vessel, the procoagulants predominate and override the anticoagulants. And we have discussed the list of procoagulants and anticoagulants. Here you can see these are the anticoagulant factors. We have discussed thrombomodulin in detail, the role of thrombomodulin along with protein C and protein S in the fibrinolysis. Then we have discussed the role of antithrombin 3. Then we have tissue factor pathway inhibitor, which inhibits the extrinsic pathway. All these are examples of the anticoagulants. And these are the clotting factors from 1 to 13. Here you can see factor 1 is fibrinogen, factor 2 is prothrombin, factor 3 is tissue factor. So remember, tissue factor is the factor which is stimulated in the extrinsic pathway. Calcium is the factor 4. Then we have the labile factor, factor 5. Then we have stable factor, factor 7. Remember, there is no factor 6. Then we have factor 8, factor 9, and factor 11. These are the anti-hemophilic factors. I repeat, factor 8, factor 9, and factor 11. Factor 8 is anti-hemophilic factor A. Factor 9 is anti-hemophilic factor B, also known as Christmas factor. And factor 11 is anti-hemophilic factor C. Factor 10 is Stewart factor. Factor 12 is Hageman factor. And factor 13 is fibrin stabilizing factor, also known as FSF. So again, you can see the list of the clotting factors from 1 to 13. Some of these clotting factors are exclusively involved in the extrinsic pathway. Then there are factors that are exclusively involved in the intrinsic pathway. However, some of the factors are involved both in the extrinsic and intrinsic pathway. Hence, we can label these factors as the common factors. For example, fibrinogen is one of the factors which is involved in the common pathway. Similarly, prothrombin is involved in the common pathway. Factor 5 is involved in the common pathway. Stewart factor is also involved in the common pathway. And then we have the FSF, fibrin stabilizing factor, or factor 13. So all these factors are involved in the common pathway. Moreover, there are certain factors which are dependent on vitamin K. So synthesis of these factors is dependent on the levels of vitamin K. So whenever there is deficiency of vitamin K, these factors are compromised. So remember, factor 2 is one of the vitamin K dependent factors, factor 7, factor 9, factor 10. These are the clotting factors which are dependent on vitamin K. Similarly, the anticoagulant protein C and protein S, these are also dependent on vitamin K. So not only the clotting factors 2, 7, 9, 10 are dependent on vitamin K, but also the anticoagulants protein C and protein S, they are also dependent on vitamin K. So vitamin K deficiency will not only lead to deficiency of these clotting factors, but also deficiency of the anticoagulant protein C and protein S. Let me show you the two pathways first. Then we will discuss the common factors, the factors for extrinsic and the factors for the intrinsic pathway. So in this figure, you can see the extrinsic pathway on your left hand side in blue, the intrinsic pathway on the right hand side in yellow, and in the middle we have the common pathway in green. So we start with the extrinsic pathway. So the extrinsic pathway is stimulated by the factor 3, that is the tissue factor. So remember, tissue factor is factor 3, and the stimulus for this is tissue trauma. So damage to the tissue, trauma to the tissue will trigger the tissue factor, that is factor 3. Once the factor 3 is activated, this will convert the inactive form of factor 7 to the active form. And activation of factor 7 is followed by activation of factor 10. So the steps for the extrinsic pathway are: step 1 is the activation of factor 3, that is tissue factor. Activation of tissue factor 3 is followed by activation of factor 7, which is followed by activation of factor 10. With the help of factor 5, activated form of factor 10 acts as a catalyst, and hence it will convert the prothrombin into thrombin, and thrombin will convert fibrinogen into fibrin fibers. These fibrin fibers are later on converted into fibrin polymers by cross-linkaging, and this cross-linkaging is done by the fibrin stabilizing factor, that is factor 13 or FSF. So this is the extrinsic pathway. Now this is taken from your textbook. So the extrinsic pathway starts with tissue trauma. Tissue trauma will activate the factor 3. Tissue factor is factor 3. Activation of factor 3 will cause activation of factor 7, followed by activation of factor 10. The small a indicates the active form. And with the help of factor 5 and factor 10, prothrombin will be activated and it will be converted into thrombin. And thrombin is responsible for conversion of fibrinogen into fibrin fibers, and these fibrin fibers are converted into fibrin polymers by cross linkaging. And remember, this cross linkaging is done by the factor 13 or fibrin stabilizing factor. So if you get a question in your SCQ in your university exam regarding the extrinsic pathway, so you have to draw all these steps, starting from the tissue factor till the cross linkaging of fibrin fibers, because this is the common pathway. So remember the mnemonic for the extrinsic pathway: 3 plus 7 is equal to 10, and half of 10 is equal to 5. So factor 3 plus 7 will activate the factor 10, and half of 10 is factor 5, which is responsible for conversion of prothrombin to thrombin. Then starts the common pathway.
सर इस तरह भी याद रख सकते हैं
जी
3 plus
बेटा।
7 is equal to 10 and 5 multiplied by 2 multiplied by 1 is equal to 10. तो 3 plus 7 और 5 multiplied 2 multiplied by 1, तो इस तरह भी याद रख सकते हैं।
चले इस
दोनों का
तरह भी
आंसर
याद
इसका
रख
नहीं
लीजिएगा,
होगा।
लिख के लिए काइंडली निमोनिक लिख ना दीजिएगा। बाज इतने स्मार्ट स्टूडेंट्स होते हैं वो निमोनिक उधर लिख देते हैं आंसर शीट पे, ठीक है। चल, here we have the intrinsic pathway. So the intrinsic pathway starts with factor 12. Remember, intrinsic pathway starts with factor 12, and the stimulatory factor for factor 12 is blood trauma or contact with collagen. So the stimulatory factor is different. The stimulatory factor for extrinsic pathway is tissue trauma, right? And the stimulatory factor for intrinsic pathway or factor 12 is blood trauma. So blood trauma will activate the factor 12 first. This will be followed by activation of factor 11, followed by activation of factor 9, then factor 8 is activated, and this will be followed by activation of factor 10. From here onwards, rest of the steps are the same. Okay, once the factor 10 is activated, rest of the steps are the same. You can see activated 10A factor along with the factor 5 will cause conversion of prothrombin into thrombin first, and then thrombin will convert fibrinogen into fibrin monomers, and these monomers are converted into polymers by cross linkaging, and this cross linkaging is done by FSF, fibrin stabilizing factor, which is factor 13. So here you can see in the middle, this is the common pathway, right? So the factors involved in common pathway include factor 1, factor 2, factor 4, 5, 10, and 13. 13th factor is the last, fibrin stabilizing factor, which is responsible for conversion of fibrin monomers into fibrin polymers by cross-linkaging. So points to remember regarding the extrinsic and intrinsic pathway. These are frequently asked in your Viva exam as well. So remember one thing, whenever there is trauma to the blood vessel, clotting usually occurs by both the extrinsic and intrinsic pathways. So both pathways, extrinsic pathway as well as intrinsic pathway, are stimulated simultaneously following a blood vessel rupture. Number one. Number two, the extrinsic pathway is explosive. So extrinsic is explosive. So the clotting may occur within few seconds, from 10 to 15 seconds. If you compare this with the intrinsic pathway is relatively much lower. Since the pathway is long, the lengthy pathway, more factors are involved, so it takes a little time, and it usually requires 1 to 5 minutes or 1 to 6 minutes for clotting to occur. So extrinsic is explosive and intrinsic pathway is relatively slower. And the stimulatory factors are different in each case. The stimulatory factor for the extrinsic pathway is activation of tissue factor. Factor 3 is tissue factor. Sometimes it is labeled as TF in capitals. So remember, tissue factor, factor 3 is the stimulatory factor for extrinsic pathway. And if there is tissue trauma, trauma to the vessel wall, or even trauma to the tissues present outside the vessel wall, this will stimulate the tissue factor and extrinsic pathway will be initiated. However, in intrinsic pathway, factor 12 is involved. Remember, factor 12 is the stimulatory factor for the intrinsic pathway, and whenever there's trauma to the blood itself, or if the blood is exposed to collagen, if the blood is exposed to glass, this will cause activation of factor 12 and intrinsic pathway will proceed. That is the reason if you take a blood sample and you put it in a glass test tube, this will stimulate which pathway?
Intrinsic.
Intrinsic pathway.
Yes. So another frequently asked question. Another thing to note down is the role of
Intrinsic pathway.
calcium ions. Remember, calcium ions are extremely important for all these steps, not only for the extrinsic pathway, but also the intrinsic pathway. So remember, except for the first two steps of intrinsic pathway, you may disregard the first two steps of intrinsic pathway. Except these two steps of intrinsic, calcium ions are required in almost all the other steps. Let me show you. So here you can see role of calcium in almost each step. Factor 10 activation involves calcium, as you can see here. Similarly, except for the first two steps of intrinsic pathway, you guard activation of factor 12. Except the first two steps, you can see calcium ions are involved in almost every step. So remember, calcium ions are extremely important for clotting. So C is for calcium, C is for clotting. That is the reason we have included calcium ions in the list of clotting factors, and we have given calcium ion as the Roman numeral 4. So calcium ion is clotting factor 4. So we have discussed the complete list of clotting factors. So deficiency of any of these clotting factors will lead a pathological state. For example, if there is deficiency of factor 1, what is the name of factor 1? Yes, students.
Fibrin.
Fibrin.
Fibrinogen.
Yes, fibrinogen is factor 1. So deficiency of factor 1 will lead to a clinical condition known as afibrinogenemia. In simple words, this A stands for absence. So afibrinogen, absence of clotting factor 1, fibrinogen, and emia refers to blood. So absence or deficiency of clotting factor 1 in blood. This is afibrinogenemia. Similarly, what is the clotting factor 2? What is the name of clotting factor 2?
Prothrombin.
Prothrombin. So deficiency of factor 2 will lead to hypoprothrombinemia. Hypo means deficiency or level less than normal. So prothrombin levels less than normal in blood. Hypoprothrombemia. So we will not go into the details of all these pathological conditions. The important uh, conditions for you people, I will pinpoint. This is a deficiency of factor 8, very important. Similarly, deficiency of factor 9 is important. And sometimes you may get question regarding deficiency of factor 11. But factor 8 and factor 9, these are the most important clotting factors as far as your university exams are concerned. So remember the name of clotting factor 8. The name is anti-hemophilic factor A. Anti-hemophilic factor A. And the factor 9 is anti-hemophilic factor B. And the name for factor 11 is anti-hemophilic factor C. Remember, factor 9 is also known as Christmas factor. So deficiency of clotting factor 8, that is anti-hemophilic factor A, will lead to hemophilia A. And this is known as the classic form of hemophilia or classic hemophilia. Similarly, deficiency of clotting factor 9 will lead to hemophilia B. Since the other name for factor 9 is Christmas factor, that is the reason hemophilia B is sometimes referred to as Christmas disease. So these are two important clinical conditions for you people. So we will discuss what is before we discuss hemophilia. Let me show you a clinical scenario. So please be attentive. An 80-year-old boy presents to the emergency with complaints of swelling in his right knee. So age of the patient, important. Gender of the patient, important. What are the presenting complaints? Swollen right knee. He denies any history of trauma to the knee. So no history of trauma. Physical examination reveals warm, swollen, erythematous joint. So on physical examination, we observe that the right knee is warm to touch, there is swelling, and there is redness. Erythematous means redness with a significant effusion. Effusion in simple words means accumulation of fluid. Further inquiry revealed that two of the boys' maternal uncles, remember, two of the boys' maternal uncles suffer from a bleeding disorder. And then you go for lab tests. So, lab tests revealed prolonged partial thromboplastin time. We will discuss what is partial thromboplastin time. The prothrombin time is normal and the bleeding time is also normal. So this is the scenario. Yes, students, are you with me?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now,
Yes, sir.
so we have used few new terminologies. We have discussed bleeding time, bleeding time, and prothrombin time. So what is bleeding time? So bleeding time in simple words means the time from the onset of first drop of blood till the bleeding stops after a gentle pinprick. I repeat, following a gentle pinprick, the time from the onset of first drop of blood till the bleeding stops. So this is a frequently used lab test, and we use the Duke's method for determination of bleeding time, and you will learn how to perform Duke's method in your practical sessions, inshallah. So remember, normal bleeding time is around, any idea? Around 5 minutes. So time from the onset of first drop of blood till the bleeding stops. Then we have another test known as clotting time. So what is clotting time? Clotting time is the time period from the onset of first drop of blood till the formation of fibrin fibers, and we use the capillary tube method for determination of clotting time. Again, you will uh, learn how to perform clotting time in your practical sessions. The normal clotting time is around 6 to 10 minutes or 6 to 9 minutes. So these are two frequently used lab tests, bleeding time and clotting time. Normal bleeding time is around 1 to 5 minutes. The time from the onset of first drop of blood till the bleeding stops following a gentle pinprick. Whereas clotting time is the time from the first drop of blood till the formation of fibrin fibers. And we use Duke's method for bleeding time and capillary tube method for determination of clotting time.
Sir, the previous slide is visible.
Which one?
Clinical.
Can you see the scenario? 8-year-old boy.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Yes.
यही स्लाइड शो हो रही है. ठीक ठीक शो हो रहा है. ठीक है, हम अभी सिनेरियो पे ही बात कर रहे हैं. ठीक है. So we have two lab tests. We usually use the term coagulation profile for these tests. Coagulation profile. So coagulation profile includes bleeding time and clotting time. So which of the cells are responsible for determination of bleeding time? Any wild guess? Yes, students.
RBC.
Which cell? RBCs. Anyone else? I repeat, bleeding time is the time from the onset of first drop of blood till the bleeding stops after a gentle pinprick. So the thrombocytes, the platelets are responsible for determination of bleeding time. Okay, and clotting factors, all the clotting factors that we have discussed from 1 to 13, these clotting factors will determine the clotting time. Agreed? So platelets will determine bleeding time.
Yes, sir.
Platelets or the thrombocytes will determine the bleeding time, and clotting factors will determine the clotting time. Now for clotting time, we have two sub-tests. One is known as partial thromboplastin time, partial thromboplastin time, or PTT, and the other one is prothrombin time, or PT. So remember, prothrombin time and partial thromboplastin time, these are the tests for the determination of clotting time. As we have discussed earlier, some of the clotting factors are exclusively involved in extrinsic pathway, whereas there are factors that are exclusively involved in the intrinsic pathway. So to differentiate the sets of clotting factors of extrinsic pathway from that of intrinsic pathway, we have these two lab tests, partial thromboplastin time and prothrombin time. So remember, prothrombin time is the test that is used for the extrinsic pathway. Prothrombin time depicts the clotting factors that are involved in the extrinsic pathway. On the other side, partial thromboplastin time, this is the test for the intrinsic pathway. Did you get the concept of PT and PTT?
Yes, sir.
Suppose factor 3, the tissue factor, is deficient. Deficiency of this factor 3 will affect which pathway? Extrinsic pathway or intrinsic pathway?
Extrinsic pathway.
Ji beta?
Extrinsic.
Okay. What about deficiency of factor 8? I will write it down. Suppose this factor 8 is deficient.
Sir,
So
intrinsic pathway.
deficiency of factor 8 will lead to prolonged prothrombin time or prolonged partial thromboplastin time.
PTT.
Anyone?
PTT.
Partial.
Okay.
PTT.
Why? Why,
PTT.
beta? What is the reason?
These are tests for
Because involved
Intrinsic
in,
pathway.
because PTT involved in intrinsic pathway.
Yes. If you remember the extrinsic pathway, you can see that there is no role of factor 8 in the extrinsic pathway. Remember the mnemonic, 3 plus 7 is equal to 10, half of 10 is 5. So no role of factor 8 in extrinsic pathway. And for extrinsic pathway, we have prothrombin time. So this means deficiency of factor 8 will not affect prothrombin time, and the prothrombin time will remain normal. Agreed?
सर लेकिन प्रोथ्रोम्बिन
Yes, sir.
टाइम हम एक्सट्रिंसिक के लिए क्यों लेते हैं? ये तो कॉमन पाथवे का है प्रोथ्रोम्बिन.
Beta, we are not talking about prothrombin, we are talking about factor 8 now. We are talking about factor 8, which is anti-hemophilic factor A. Okay, we are not talking about
की बात कर रहा हूँ. सर प्रोथ्रोम्बिन
PT
टेस्ट
stands for, this PT does not stand for the clotting factor prothrombin. This PT stands for prothrombin time. This does not stand for prothrombin. These are two sub-tests for determination of clotting time. I repeat, Bleeding time is the time from the onset of first drop of blood till the bleeding stops after a gentle pinprick, and it usually requires 1 to 5 minutes for bleeding to stop. And the platelets, the thrombocytes, are responsible for determination of bleeding time. On the other side, clotting time is the time from the onset of first drop of blood till the formation of fibrin fibers, and the normal clotting time is around 6 to 10 minutes. So thrombocytes or platelets will determine the bleeding time. Clotting factors will determine the clotting time. All the clotting factors that are involved in the intrinsic pathway, we can determine these clotting factors by partial thromboplastin time, and for the clotting factors that are exclusively involved in the extrinsic pathway, we have another test, that is prothrombin time. Let's assume that the levels of factor 8 are deficient. This factor 8 is also known as anti-hemophilic factor A. Okay. So if this factor 8 is missing, is factor 8 involved in the extrinsic pathway? Yes or no? Is factor 8
No.
involved in extrinsic pathway?
No.
Yes or no?
No,
No.
sir.
This means the prothrombin time will not be affected. Agreed? However, factor 8 is involved in the intrinsic pathway. That is the reason the PTT, which depicts the intrinsic pathway, will be prolonged. So it's a bit confusing. You can use a mnemonic. So remember, you play tennis outside and you play table tennis inside. So play tennis outside. Outside is for extrinsic pathway. And you play table tennis inside. Inside is for intrinsic pathway. So you play tennis outside. Prothrombin time is for extrinsic pathway. You play table tennis inside. PTT is for intrinsic pathway. Okay? It's easier now.
Yes, sir.
So in this scenario, an 8-year-old boy presented with swollen right knee. The knee is warm, swelling is there, fluid accumulation is there, redness is there, and further inquiry revealed that the boy's maternal uncles, they suffer from a bleeding disorder. Now this is important. Family history is important. And lab tests revealed that the prothrombin time is normal. This means all the clotting factors of the extrinsic pathway, they are not involved. Moreover, the bleeding time is also normal. This means the platelets or the thrombocytes, they are also not involved. Platelets are not involved. The clotting factors 3, 7, 10, 5, all the clotting factors of extrinsic pathway, they are not involved either. However, the partial thromboplastin time PTT is prolonged. This means the factor of the intrinsic pathway may be involved. Okay. So this is a
Yes,
case
sir.
of hemophilia. This is a case of hemophilia. So this is also known as royal disease because it was first diagnosed in Queen Victoria's genes. So hemophilia is also known as royal disease. And there are two important types of hemophilia, hemophilia A and hemophilia B. Hemophilia A is also known as classic hemophilia, whereas hemophilia B is also known as Christmas disease. There's a third type of hemophilia as well, which is very rare, known as hemophilia C. But the important two types are hemophilia A and hemophilia B. So remember, hemophilia A is due to deficiency of clotting factor 8, whereas hemophilia B is due to deficiency of clotting factor 9. Better kindly mute yourself. Both hemophilia A and hemophilia B, these are X-linked recessive disorders. If you remember the scenario, there is positive family history from the maternal side. The boys, maternal uncles, they were suffering from bleeding disorders. So this indicates X-linked recessive pattern. So if there is deficiency of clotting factor 8, this will cause hemophilia A. If there is deficiency of factor 9, this may be. Since in the given scenario, so you can simply write down as hemophilia. So that diagnosis in this case may be hemophilia B. The thrombin time will remain normal. The bleeding time will also remain normal. Since the platelets are not involved, so the bleeding time will not be affected. Both factor 8 and factor 9, both are not involved in the extrinsic pathway. Both are not involved in the extrinsic pathway. That is the reason the prothrombin time, you play tennis outside, prothrombin time is for extrinsic pathway. So 8 or 9 both are not involved in the extrinsic pathway. So the prothrombin time will also be normal. However, both these factors, factor 8 and factor 9, they are involved in the intrinsic pathway. And you play table tennis inside. So partial thromboplastin time is for intrinsic pathway. Factor 8, factor 9, both are involved in intrinsic pathway. So in each case, whether there is hemophilia A or there is hemophilia B, in each case, the PTT will be prolonged.
Sir? Sir?
In some cases, there is a third type of hemophilia that is known as hemophilia C. So this hemophilia C is due to deficiency of which clotting factor? Anyone?
9.
It is factor 11. This is factor 11. Deficiency of factor 8 will lead to hemophilia A. Deficiency of factor 9 will lead to hemophilia B. And deficiency of factor 11 may lead to hemophilia C. Unlike hemophilia A, which is the classic hemophilia, and unlike hemophilia B, which is known as Christmas disease, hemophilia C is an autosomal recessive disorder. So this is another difference. Hemophilia C is an autosomal recessive disorder, unlike the X-linked recessive disorder in case of hemophilias A and B. But for you people, the important hemophilias are A and B. As far as your examinations are concerned, you may get an SCQ related to hemophilia A or hemophilia B. You rarely get a question regarding hemophilia C, but sometimes you may you may be asked in your Viva exam regarding hemophilia C.
सर
जी बेटा.
सर इस क्लिनिकल के अंदर हमने नॉर्मल ब्लीडिंग टाइम जो देखने को मिल रहा है.
Okay, okay. So one of your colleagues have asked about bleeding time. Why the bleeding time is normal? Beta, what is bleeding time? What is the simplest definition of bleeding time? Bleeding time is the time from the onset of first drop of blood till the bleeding stops after a gentle pinprick injury. And the normal bleeding time is around 1 to 5 minutes. And why does the blood clot? Why does the bleeding stops? That is the question. Cells are responsible for. Beta, turn off your mic. Turn off your mic. So we were discussing bleeding time. Bleeding time is the time from the onset of first drop of blood till the bleeding stops. And the cells responsible for this are anyone?
Thrombocytes.
Thrombocytes. Okay. So in hemophilia A, there is deficiency of factor 8. In hemophilia B, there is deficiency of factor 9. These factors are clotting factors. So in each case, platelets are not involved. Platelets or thrombocytes will determine bleeding time, not the clotting factors. Clotting factors will determine the clotting time. And the clotting time we have, for clotting time we have prothrombin time and partial thromboplastin time. Remember this PT and PTT, these tests are used for clotting time determination. One is for the extrinsic clotting factor, the other is for the intrinsic clotting factors. So if there is deficiency of clotting factors, clotting time will be prolonged. If there is deficiency of platelets, bleeding time will be prolonged. Since the platelets are unaffected in hemophilia, that is the reason the bleeding time will be normal. But in certain bleeding disorders which platelets are involved, whether structurally they are abnormal or sometimes functionally they are abnormal. So in that case, the bleeding time will be prolonged. We will discuss certain pathological conditions in which bleeding time is prolonged in the coming lecture, inshallah. So remember, thrombocytes or platelets will determine the bleeding time. Clotting factors will determine the clotting time. So these clotting factors 8 and 9, they will prolong the clotting time. However, the bleeding time will remain normal since the thrombocytes are unaffected. So we will stop
prolong
here.
का मतलब ये है कि वो लैग कर रहा है, क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर्स पीटीटी को लैग कर रहा है, ये मतलब है इसका.
Beta, can you repeat? Please, can you repeat?
सर प्रोलॉन्ग का मतलब यहाँ पे क्या है कि वो क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर्स लैग कर रहा है, प्रोलॉन्ग पीटीटी.
Okay, prolonged prothrombin time or prolonged partial thromboplastin time means the duration is prolonged. The duration is prolonged. Okay. The normal duration for bleeding time is around 5 minutes. The normal duration for clotting time is around 6 to 10 minutes. So suppose the clotting time duration is 17 minutes or 18 minutes. This prolonged duration means that the clotting time is prolonged, whether the PT is prolonged or the PTT is prolonged. Similarly, if the bleeding time is 12 minutes, the normal is around 5 minutes. So this indicates prolonged or increased duration. So this prolonged means the duration is prolonged.
सर
Yes,
Yes, sir.
better.
सर अभी हमने बात की थी कि अगर एक फ्लास्क के अंदर ब्लड लिया जाए तो वो इंट्रिंसिक पाथवे के थ्रू कोगुलेट करेगा.
जी जी।
तो सर इधर हम फिर पीटीटी और पीटी, फिर हमें सिर्फ पीटीटी को फॉलो करना चाहिए क्योंकि इंट्रिंसिक पाथवे ही हो सकता है सिर्फ।
Beta, there are different techniques for determination of bleeding time and different techniques for determination of clotting time. We haven't discussed the uh, procedures in detail yet. We use Duke's method for determination of bleeding time, and we use capillary tube method for determination of clotting time. Capillary tube method. We will discuss both these methods in detail during your practical sessions, inshallah. So what we do in Duke's method, we take a white filter paper like this, round in shape, and we take a needle and prick our index finger, and we put our drop of blood on the filter paper like this, and we start the stopwatch. And after every 30 seconds, we continue to place our blood drops over the filter paper in a clockwise fashion. And then we calculate the time. So we will determine how much time is consumed till no drop of blood is seen over the filter paper. So this is known as Duke's method for determination of bleeding time. And the normal bleeding time is around 6 minutes. DUKE, Duke's method. Then we have capillary tube method for determination of clotting time. So inshallah, you will learn how to perform bleeding time and clotting time during your practical sessions, inshallah. So we will resume our discussion from here tomorrow, inshallah, and go through the pages of Guyton. Have a look at VWD. So we will discuss VWD tomorrow, inshallah. VWD stands for von Willebrand disease. Okay. So see you tomorrow.
सर क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर नंबर 6 क्यों नहीं एग्जिस्ट करता, या हमने नाम क्यों नहीं दिया?
क्लॉटिंग फैक्टर क्यों नहीं होता? बस नहीं होता बेटा, कुछ चीजें हैं जो हम एज इट इज ही ले लेते हैं, ठीक है ना। अब हीमोफीलिया एंटी हीमोफिलिक फैक्टर ए को फैक्टर 8 का नाम दिया है, एंटी हीमोफिलिक फैक्टर बी को फैक्टर 9 का नाम दिया है। अकॉर्डिंग टू सम factor 6 was there initially, but later on it was removed. I will show you the details tomorrow. Let me show you if I have the slide. Wait a second. Since you have asked the question, so I have to answer you. Just a second. So according to some, factor 6 is the activated form of the same factor 5, that is proaccelerin. The name for factor 5 is proaccelerin, and initially factor 6 was there by the name of accelerin, but later on it was removed since it is the same form, that is the activated form of factor 5. So that is the reason we no longer use factor 6. Okay, beta. Since factor 6 is the same as the activated form of factor 5.
Yes sir, done. Thank you
Okay.
sir.
Thank you, beta. Okay, Allah Hafiz.